answers to the unknown. Welcome to Live with Medium Lisa Phoenix, and step into the magical presence of the metaphysical realm. Lisa will share the wisdom and musings from her own experiences, have intriguing conversations with other mediums and healers, in addition to exploring a wide array of topics and teachings on intuitive and mediumship development. Lisa will be taking your calls and inviting your friends and loved ones in the spirit world to share their stories with us. Raise your awareness as you are reunited on the level of love, and let's go live with Medium Lisa Phoenix.
Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. It's a wonderful day in Southern California. Welcome to the Live with Lisa Phoenix radio show. I'm Lisa Phoenix, your host, a medium and energy intuitive. My show is all about healing, mediumship, and energy management, and I'm so excited to welcome my special guest this morning, gifted author Jonathan Womack. Hey, Jonathan, how are you?
I'm doing well, Lisa. How are you?
Good. It's great to have you on the show this morning.
Good to be back.
Just so for some of my listeners who may not be familiar with you, I'm going to read the little excerpt of your bio that's on your website. Questions of spirituality, faith, the brevity of life, and what becomes of us after death are enduring questions for the ages. Author Jonathan Womack is committed to sharing his understanding of the soul's experience and existence before, during, and after life through his books, lectures, interviews, and social media. Jonathan's out-of-body episodes began in his youth, some of which... Hey, I guess we're having some technical difficulties there.
Yeah, it dropped right out. So.
I know. So, Jonathan, can you share with us a little bit more about your background and how you got into all this work?
Sure. When I was little, I was scared to death, and I played dead. And next thing you know, I'm standing outside of my body looking down at myself, and I'm a ghost, and, I'm wide awake and fully conscious. And so this started happening, and the cartoon Superman and Superboy came on back in '66, and Superboy was my hero, and I started adopting that, a phantom version of Superboy when I'd go out of body and travel the astral plane and the here and now. So that just kind of became my motif, and over the years I was alone, and then I came upon Robert Monroe's book, and that was a pretty seminal moment. And then later on, I decided to, rather than start a cult, I'll write an adventure novel and put some of my experiences in it. And, I based it on this terrorist Osama bin Laden. And I was nearing the end of the book when 9/11 happened, and it happened on my birthday, so it was just very eerie.
Wow.
Yeah, I held off, publishing the book, of course, and it's been the same kind of thing with the sequel, Ram I Am, which is coming out next month, whereas the subject matter is pretty touchy because the story is about an American patriot. He's a scientist who's studying torsion physics, and he gets some powers, him and two of his colleagues, and they decide they're going to take matters in their own hands and just kind of go extremist on the extremist and destroy much of the Middle East and kill millions of, good people along with the bad guys. And Ram's job, Ram is the superhero, he has got to stop these folks from doing it. And he's torn because he understands they're doing this for the country, and if they don't do it, it could be America's doom, and we're all dead. And so there's a lot of that in the book.
Gotcha. Now, people who don't know, this is the sequel to A Cry for a Hero, correct?
That's correct. This is the second book.
Right. Mm-hmm. So what, can you tell folks a little bit about what A Cry for a Hero is about? Because I actually recommend everybody go out and get that book and read it as well. That
won the Hollywood Book Festival in 2013.
Yes. And
they recognize books with the greatest potential for film and gaming, franchising, television, and so forth. And the story is about a Colorado farmer who's out camping, and he has to play dead to survive a bear attack, and he finds himself out of his body, and he learns that he can leave his body and return at will. And when there's this terrorist attack on America, he taps into his, he's a comic book collector nerd like me. He transforms into, he takes this phantom shape of his hero. Ram is his name. And then he proceeds to fight the terrorist. And it's pretty crazy because the target is Boston in my story. But I felt they were coming here. And, I was right. They were coming to Boston. They were coming through Boston. New York was the target, of course. But I just felt they were coming to hit us. And that was the premise of the book. So, that's the story of A Cry for a Hero.
Gotcha. And then as we talk, Ram continues his journey, and you're kind of moving more into the Middle East, right?
Yeah, it's it's a very current storyline. It's what's going on today in the Middle East, and there's a spiritual battle taking place on the earth right now between good and evil. And this is from 2012, marks a point where we can go into 1,000 years of peace and enlightenment, and we learn about our legacy on Mars and our place in the galactic community. Or it's going to be another 1,000 years of war and hell. There'll be no legacy, no free energy, none of that suppressed stuff. No, we need to control the humans and keep war and manifest hatred and division. And that's what we're faced with, and that's what the book is about. Gotcha.
Now, your book, it deals with the Earth grid and how it channels like the collective consciousness, correct?
Yeah, there was, this lost technology from back in the day on Earth. They built the pyramids and cubes also, and all the obelisks that are around the planet. All these things, not only do they channel the Earth's electric field, and the pyramids were built to join the Earth and the sky. There's electricity in the sky, and there's electricity in the ground, and the pyramid just draws the electricity from the sky, and they would have a current, and now the pyramid's charged and everybody has free wireless energy. And Tesla knew that, and they shut him down. And but the thing a lot of people don't understand is the Earth grid doesn't just channel electrical energy, it also channels thought as another form of energy. And if you Google images of the Kaaba in Mecca, and you'll see some of the wider shots of this mosque, and you see all the people walking in circles around the Kaaba, this cube. That is an induction. Yeah, that's an induction circuit, just like turning a magnet inside a copper wire. You're inducing current into the copper wire. And if you look at, like I said, aerial views of the Kaaba and the mosque, you see all these like radio towers. I mean, this is like a circuit board. The people are walking around. That's their thoughts are the energy, and they're charging the cube, and then the cube spreads out to the capacitors that you see all around the mosque. Those tall, pillar things they look like receiver towers. That's what they are. And then that in turn is spreading that through around the world through all the pyramids and obelisks, like the Washington Monument. And domes, too. Temple Mount is another grid point. And so it's just channeling this thought energy through the collective consciousness. And people have to, here in America, we have to outpray this violent extremism that is overtaking our planet.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And hence your discussion of good versus evil, correct? And again, because, good thought can go out there just as much as negative thought can, correct?
That's right. We have to outthink them on that level. And that's a lot of, hate is a very powerful, evil's a powerful force. But I have faith that good, wins out over evil as long as we keep our faith and just stick to our guns and we don't sit by and let this overcome us.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Eros Evolution is where sexuality and spirituality meets. Join me, clinical sexologist Martha Tara Lee, on Eros Evolution on Thursdays, 4 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
What if living didn't have to be so serious?
What if you could move beyond your problems with greater confidence and ease than you've ever imagined?
Throw your labels out the window and join the Irreverent Therapist for practical tips and a very different way of approaching the changes you would like to create.
Marilyn Bradford
and Pam Hodling
have empowered hundreds of people to come out of self-judgment, quit looking to experts, and begin to create the lives they desire.
Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern on the Irreverent Therapist Show.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
You there, Lisa?
Are you there?
I am here. Hello? I'm here.
Okay, so am I. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Okay, it looks like we're having some technical.
Oh, boy.
Not sure what is going on, but hold on a minute and we will be right back. Hi. I don't know. It seems like, Skype is all crazy this morning.
I guess so.
Apologize, but and I apologize to all you listeners. But I was asking if you could tell us a little bit more about the whole grid, because I know that negative energy is very powerful, but isn't quote unquote, love the more powerful energy of it all?
Yeah, I would say love is more powerful, and people have to be mindful. And I tell people, when you're praying, be kind of like the Muslims do. I mean, they literally point their brain toward this circuit in Mecca. That's the main circuit on the circuit board that they access. They direct all their thought toward the Kaaba.
Mm-hmm.
And they do that 5 times a day, and that's to affect the collective consciousness. So I tell people, just, think of the Washington Monument or, some kind of amplifier like that, something that's going to amplify your thoughts and carry your thoughts and along the grid, just like they do. We can use the grid too.
Right. Now, where can you just share with everybody? So, and obviously won't share everything, but you shared a little bit before. What is the Washington Monument? What are other parts in the U.S. of this grid?
Well, there's pyramids being built today that are part of it, and I don't know if that's knowing or unknowing, but like in Nashville, they have this big pyramid. It's got a hotel in there, and they got this, and there's like a mall, and one has gone up in Ohio. I think it was Toledo. Downtown Chicago, they've got this big cube. It's Daly Center, I believe that is. So you see around the world, if you just Google, images for, cubes and pyramids around the world, you're going to find. And the biggest ones are in Bosnia. They're just kind of digging those out now, but they're much larger than the ones in Egypt.
Wow.
So, yeah, you've got all these cubes and obelisk and pyramids, and those are to channel this energy.
Wow. Now, you utilize this though in the book, right? In Ram I Am?
Yes. Ram's buddy is a scientist and metaphysical researcher, and he's going to introduce a free energy device at a symposium, and it's going to change the world. He's offered a business model so that companies like General Electric, who they've been keeping the free energy from the people for 100 years since Tesla, but this model will allow them to still make a little money and keep the company going. They're not going to make billions, but they'll still make somebody has to build the pyramids and stuff, and fix up the Giza pyramids and this sort of thing. So it is going to take some money, but so the scientist is going to introduce this model, and of course there's a lot of people that don't want this introduced, and that's just kind of the basic storyline. That's the premise. And you got the bad guy scientist too. Mm-hmm. And, he kind of feeds off, there's another energy field. It's torsion energy. And his supervillain name is Torque. It's like the torsion that's created in a car engine, torque that drives.
Can you explain that to us? No, what torsion energy?
Torsion energy is... the mantle of the Earth is turning on a bed of hot lava. So what you end up is the center of the Earth, the main part, it's turning, but the outer crust, because it's riding on that liquid lava, it turns a little behind. It turns a little slower. But the inside main part of the Earth is spinning, and it's kind of pulling along the outer mantle. And pulling it along behind it, that's that torsion is it's the energy of spin.
Wow.
Torsion is spin fields, and that's basically, they're going to find out that's what the unified field theory has been missing, is its spin is what makes the universe go round. You've got inside the Earth, every round body, like let's say the Earth, it's turning. There's something happening inside these bodies where energy is coming in from the ether. It's coming in from nowhere. It's coming in from a higher dimension, and it's shooting out the North Pole of the planet in a shaft shaped like a hexagon. Now we learned this model is true when the Voyager took the pictures of Saturn, the top of Saturn. If you go on YouTube and punch in the Saturn hexagon, sure enough, the top of the planet, there is a clear hexagon pattern on the North Pole. And that's because we don't see it on Earth because it's a rock planet, it's solid, but in a gas planet, you see the effect of this shaft coming out of the top of the planet.
Wow.
It's you could fit 4 Earths inside this hexagon.
Really?
It's huge. So, yeah, all these mechanics, this interdimensional physics, torsion mechanics, whatever you want to call it, has been lost for, thousands of years, but now we're starting to rediscover it. But, yeah, out of the North Pole of the Earth and Saturn and Jupiter is this shaft of torsion energy. It's coming from the center of the planets, and it's created by the planet's spin, its rotation, and it's pulling this energy out of nothing. It's coming from nowhere, literally. And just the torsion energy we could use to power the whole solar system. It doesn't even include the electromagnetic energy that's also being created by the Earth's turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's one of the things actually that I love is that you incorporate so much reality into your fiction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's science fiction.
Yeah. And I just love that. And again, I encourage everybody to go out and get Jonathan's books, because you've got a couple other ones out there too, don't you?
Yes.
Old Souls.
Old Souls, yeah.
And The Dog Man Cometh.
And The Dog Man Cometh, that's right. And I've started 2 others. The third book with Ram, the sequel to Ram I Am, is...
in the works?
Yeah, I'm about 5 chapters into that. And Ram and his girlfriend are out in Monterey Bay having lunch on the boardwalk. And Ram gets, or Jack, his name's Jack Ramsey,
right.
And then when he goes out of body, he turns into Ram. But, there's something going on out in the boardwalk, and they go to see what it is, and there's a dolphin swimming there, and he gets this incredibly powerful psychic imprint message and it's coming from the dolphin, and the dolphin's screaming for help.
Oh, wow.
And so, Ram's like, to his girlfriend, Vanya, he's like, I gotta, let's get to the car. I gotta change into Ram. So he does his, he goes into his trance, be dead. That's what I say, be
right.
dead. So he goes out and he goes offshore about 20 miles. Sure enough, there's a Navy fleet and an army of cetaceans, orcas, whales, dolphins, and a number of these creatures have been altered by the Fukushima radiation, and it has given them powers. Yes.
Wow.
And the leader, Dolphinius, has the ability now, the psychic ability, to communicate on the same frequency as humans, and he can talk to certain humans like Jack Ramsey.
Right.
Can hear him. And so the War of the Cetaceans. Now, as you know, the Navy's been, it's like a war on cetacean. They use this sonar, and it just kills. It's horrific. And you see, if you Google it, YouTube it, and you'll see, a pod of 1,000 dolphins racing away from a fleet of Navy ships that are doing the sonar, because it is killing the dolphins from the inside out.
Wow, I didn't know that, actually.
Oh, God, it's so awful. And, it's hard for me to talk about.
I can imagine. Yeah, I love dolphins.
Oh, and they're so intelligent, and they were revered on Mars back in the day when there was this advanced civilization there. Dolphins were revered because they help to manage the Earth's magnetic field. They can tap into that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, everybody. You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Jonathan Womack. Taking a commercial break. You're on OMTimes Radio. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Live with medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences, to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Simone Milasas would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com.
If you've ever said, I do want it all. I do want happiness. I do want love. And I do desire the happily ever after fairy tale life, then this show is for you. Join me, Dame Nicole Brandon, for my internationally acclaimed show, Bridal Talk Radio, every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, where I'll bring you the top experts in the fields of communication, money, relationships, finance, pleasure, play, travel, sexuality, parenting, real estate, adventure, comfort, care, passion, and love.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, author Jonathan Womack. Now, I just wanted to ask you one more question about this, because I'm sure I'm not the only ignorant one. Yes, but what is that device for?
Which device are you?
The one we're talking about, the dolphins. I mean, it's not to do that, is it? To kill them?
The sonar? Oh, the sonar is just to locate, enemy submarines.
Gotcha, but it just has that side effect.
It kills the dolphins and the whales, and like I said, it kills them from the inside out.
Wow.
Destroys all their organs. It's a horrible death, and some of these YouTube videos, you'll see 1,000 dolphins swimming for their lives, and there's blood, and
you just would think that they'd be able to come out with something. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and the Navy says it's for national security, and they just had a meeting at Congress recently, and they decided the Navy's still going to use sonar, so that was pretty heartbreaking for me.
Oh, yeah.
We should be embracing the cetaceans as the other intelligent life species here on Earth, and working with them.
Exactly.
They're able to manage the Earth's magnetic field, and that's very important to the planet's health. And like I said, back in the day, they were revered for this on Mars because of this ability they have. And, our planet's spinning around. When your tire on your car gets wobbly, your mechanic will put some weights on it, in different spots. And that's so the tire is not going to wobble. It makes the tire spin nice and smooth and straight.
Gotcha.
And, that's like what the pyramids are for. One thing, they're kind of like weights on your tire. They help to wobble the planet, and the dolphins manage the magnetic field so that the grid is evenly spread, and parts of the planet like the Sahara Desert, that's a bad spot that was affected by the Earth grid when all the crap happened back in the day with Moses and all that. And Egypt used to be a luscious garden, and then boom, the Earth grid was all shut down and things went haywire, and now you got this crappy desert. And so that's what happens. You got to keep the Earth grid, the energy flow. It's kind of like your body too. Acupuncture, you have those centers, and you can treat the aura of the body. The planet has the same thing. It's got an aura, and parts. You get your elbow has got some dry skin on it or something.
Right.
Kind of like that.
But now I believe, and I think that it seems like there's a lot of different groups out there, but I believe there is a way to incorporate technology with like the energy of old. Do you know what I mean?
Well, absolutely, because that technology is repressed and lost and all that. So it's definitely science,
Right.
The Platonic solids. Plato was the last one to talk about it before it kind of went dark. He was saying, the pyramid is the most perfect form in nature, in energetic nature and in the physical universe. And in fact, inside each planet, you've got, when it starts turning, the electricity in the Earth, instead of a random, electrical, it snaps into a pattern, the shape of a pyramid, like the top of the pyramid's at the North Pole. And then the bottom of the pyramid comes down below the equator, and those 3 points or 4 points, 3 points, that's a tetrahedron, three-sided pyramid.
Okay.
It touches the inside of the Earth, the points of the base of the pyramid. And those points are, Giza is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And, Bermuda Triangle. And so like on Jupiter, the red spot, that's where the pyramid, inside Jupiter, the energetic pyramid I'm talking about, it's all the energy inside the planet snaps into this pattern of a pyramid. And it flows, and, it's touching the North Pole at the top, and the bottom it's touching below the equator. And in fact, it's touching 19.5 degrees below the equator. If you look at the Earth and you look at the equator and you just, you go down like you have a protractor, instead of 45, you don't go 45 degrees, it's only 19.5 degrees. And if you follow that point around the planet, you'll find, and on the sun, all the sunspots are at 19.5 degrees below the sun's equator. And you also have a pyramid, it's upside down inside the Earth. There's two pyramids inside each body in the universe. One's upright and the other one's upside down, and they form what we know as a Star of David. But in the universe, that is the symbol for torsion physics or Plato solids, or this interdimensional physics that runs the universe that we've all forgotten about. But you'll see on Saturn the same thing, 19.5 degrees above the equator and below. You're going to have there's sunspots, or the storm on Jupiter, or Bermuda Triangle, and the ancients built the pyramids on the grid points where there's intersections. And also, 19.5. 19.5 is a sacred number because that's kind of the basic number in this science. And it's very science. It's all scientific. This is what Einstein, he was working on a torsion sensor model when his last years. He was he was like, oh my gosh, look at torsion. Oh wow, this is it. I'm on to something. I'm going to find the unified field theory that ties everything together. And he passed away before he did, but now we understand, yes, torsion is the driving, the force of spin is driving the universe, and everything else comes from that.
Yeah, and it's funny too as you say that, because in my own experience, I don't have a lot of that scientific experience, but just with energetic healing a lot, it spins. The energy spins.
Oh, that is interesting.
The healing, and it's just it kind of turned a light bulb on when you were talking about all that stuff. But now there are people who are, continuing this work, correct?
There are, yes, absolutely. One person I follow is Richard Hoagland. He was the science advisor for CBS back in the 60s with Walter Cronkite and the moon landing. And then when the first pictures came back from Mars in the 77 there, him and Arthur C. Clarke were the ones saying, look at the face, look at this, look at the trees on Mars, look, oh my gosh, there's frozen water, look at this, look at this, look at this. And of course, the mainstream says, oh, look the other way, there's nothing to see here on Mars.
Ah, gotcha.
But of course, some of us know different. But Richard Hoagland, Arthur C. Clarke passed away some years ago. So,
right.
Richard and others who, have written books about torsion physics and the Earth grid and how this has all been suppressed from us and the free energy. And so, there's others out there that are pioneering this.
Good. So the ball has not been dropped completely.
No,
Good.
This is the stuff, the bad guys want this repressed, and, they got rid of Tesla, and he was going to give the world free energy, and J.P. Morgan said, no, you're not. These are people, these are evil people. A lot of people don't know about the Titanic, but that was J.P. Morgan and Rockefeller had to get control of America's monetary system. They want to control the money because they knew, presidents have power, but the real power is when you have money and you control the currency of a country. You can bring it to its knees. You just have total control. And they could not get the Fed, the Federal Reserve. That's them. It's a private company having power over American currency. And they knew that's the way to go. And the only way to get it was to get rid of this John Astor, who was one of the richest men in the world. And he was lobbying Congress saying, if you do this, we're all done. Don't do it. And they had to get rid of John Astor. And they decided that this book was written in 1897 called Titan, and it was about this ocean liner. It was the biggest, the greatest, and they set sail, and it could not be sunk. And then, boom, it hit an iceberg, and it sinks, and everybody's killed. They built the Titanic, and they sunk the Titanic just to kill John Astor and get less than a year later, the Federal Reserve, it was passed in Congress, and Morgan and Rockefeller now had control of America's money. And this has been the pattern ever since of these banksters controlling the world and for their own evil, nefarious.
Gotcha. It's funny when you were talking, earlier before the show, and you, this is, and it may not be related, but you were talking about the grids and stuff. And I have some physical neighbors who are constantly talking about moving off the grid.
Yeah, they're moving off the people's grid, but
that's what I mean. They want to get off the grid.
Yes, absolutely.
To get away from it all.
Yeah.
Thank you. We are coming up to another commercial break. You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, author Jonathan Womack. We'll be right back after these commercials. Stay tuned.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
Looking for inspiration?
Want to be inspired?
Not sure where to go?
Find Mark and Kim every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living.
Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual.
Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hi, this is Julie Geigel.
I'm Maggie Chula.
And I'm Catherine Glass.
And we're the Psychic Angel Channelers. Join us every week here on OMTimes Radio for Angel Talk Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time.
The angels have heard your call and are here to help.
Are you ready to receive?
Remember your magnificence with Angel Talk Tuesday.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, author Jonathan Womack. And Jonathan, since we are going to be coming up and getting a little bit short on time here, I wanted to ask you about, you're doing a production now, correct? Can you share with us?
Yes, Cry for a Hero. I've wanted to bring Ram to the big screen. Has been my goal all along, and I had some movie interest, and things just aren't happening fast enough for me, so I decided to start my own production company, and it's mindworldentertainment.com, and you can go onto YouTube and see some of our TV proposals and other things that we're working on. And, the funding for A Cry for a Hero, the feature film, the budget is $160 million. It's not a small deal. It's
wow.
It's going to be a big thing, and we begin in January funding that. And my other books, too, would be turned into movies. That's the plan.
Oh, that's wonderful. And so how is it going at this point?
Well, it's going pretty well. We have some interest from some pretty big investors that, these folks have billions of dollars in assets. It's incredible when you start looking around at investors and how much money they have. It was mind-blowing. And I got to forget that, these figures are all millions and millions because, it just becomes overwhelming, and you have to start thinking about it as smaller money and not let all the zeros get in the way, if you know what I mean. And
yes.
And just run with it. And so that's what I'm doing, and it's kind of crazy because it's big numbers. But,
and this may be too early to tell, but I mean, do you already have people in mind that you would like to play?
Yes.
Characters? Yeah,
because the budget, you put in there who you want to play the different parts, and then they, the budget company that I use, they incorporate that into the budget, what that actor gets. And, I want to use a talent.
Well, right. But I was just wondering, is there anyone you can name, or is that too early that you would like?
Well, it's a little early because
Okay.
it'd be, probably 3-4 years before this movie would be out in theaters. But, I mean, back in the day, I thought of Ben Affleck, but that was 10 years ago. So now he's Batman.
Right.
He's going to be Batman. So that's not going to work out.
But I'm sure when the time comes, it will work out. And,
oh, yeah. It'll be awesome. I think when you see our videos and just, I'm produce the videos and do the editing and everything. And you'll see there's a real passion and talent and just natural born talent for this. I was born to make movies and entertain people and inspire them spiritually and give them hope. That's what this is about. Our message is about bringing hope, especially in times of war.
Yes. And everybody, again, if you go to YouTube, the channel is called Mind World Entertainment. So please go and check out and leave comments, wonderful comments and all that stuff. And you were also, we talked about earlier, there was a couple of, was there a couple of paranormal experiences you were going to share with all of us?
Yeah, just some, this stuff happens all the time, and I tune a lot of it out because I try to stay focused on the production and so forth. But yeah, 2 days before Halloween, I'm sitting here at my computer, and it's a beautiful day, it's 72 degrees. I thought I'll go out back for a walk in the woods. And I immediately get the dire, this warning thing. If you go out there, you're going to be shot. And
wow.
Oh my gosh. What? Well, all right. I'm not going to go for a walk. I'll go outside and finish, puttying that windowsill. Mm-hmm. So I go outside and, I'm just out there for a couple minutes and I do the window and I walk back in the back door and there's a knock at the front door and I see my neighbor. He's rapping on the door. He's got a gun in his hand.
Oh my gosh.
What the heck? So I open the door. I'm like, hey, somebody, come on, come quick. Come. I follow him around. He's like, somebody's trying to break in. I'm like, wait a minute. He goes, oh, yeah, I went around the back of the house. He must have took off in the woods. I'm like, dude, that was me. He was ready to come shoot me,
Oh, wow.
It was me at my window.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so these things, you got to be open to your, third mind or whatever you want to call that.
Your own intuitive guidance.
Yes, I get that a lot. I know to pay attention to it. And then after I saw you 2 years ago, I was on your show out there in L.A.
Right.
I go to bed at night, I fall asleep, I'm out of my body just in seconds. There's the beeping signal, danger, help, and I shoot off to the origin of the signal, and I'm at some place, I'm not sure where I am, but there's this huge snake crawling through like a tunnel or an air duct or something, and it's going to eat these two babies, and I grab the back of the snake, and I'm trying to pull it out of this duct, and I'm having a tough time because the freaking snake is, I can't believe how big it is, and it's stuck in this thing, and my teacher says, you have to go now. And I'm like, what? I mean, this is frantic. In the spirit world, emotion is so powerful. And
right.
Like, what are you talking about? It's going to eat the kids. And no, you have to go now. And I'm like, so I said, fine, but I'm coming right back. Because you can do that.
Right.
And so oh boy, I wake up and oh my gosh, I had to pee. So I go to the bathroom quick. I go back to bed and I'm thinking of these babies and I'm like, okay, I got to get back in there. And I lie down, I go in my trance and I cannot get out and try, and I'm getting frustrated. And I'm like, those kids, the snake is going to get them and I could not get out. And it was very frustrating. The next morning I get up, I go online, mm-hmm. I search, this is what I do when I have an incident. And, in New Brunswick, the night before, a snake had gotten out of the pet store, exotic pet store, and next door is an apartment building with 2 babies, and the snake got into the air duct, crawled through there, over the baby's room, came down into the room, and killed the babies. And so, the next night I go out of body, and my teacher's there, and I'm like, it still bothers me, but he said to me, you're not meant to save them. They're supposed to, you cannot save everybody, because sometimes the kids knew they were going to die when they chose this life. They did this for their mother so she can learn the lesson of losing a child. And, you got to... So it's hard for a hero when you can't save everybody, when you're, that's your job is to help people. And it's hard to be reminded that you can't always help everybody.
Right. That is a very difficult thing. And I wanted to ask, who is your teacher?
He's a graduate. Yeah, you come through Earth thousands of times, and when you've learned everything and survived, you become a teacher, and you make baby souls.
Right.
You're like a dirty little snowball. You come to Earth, and they're with you. That's your parent.
Gotcha.
They're with you the whole time and guiding you and helping. They love you completely. And most people think it's God, but that's not God. They're very omnipotent, and they seem like God, these spiritual guides and stuff, but they're not God. God is even way, way beyond them, way beyond.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Right. So he's your guide. Now, do you know him? I mean, do you know who he is?
Thu.
Huh?
Thu. My name is Thu. How, like Johnny Cash.
Right. Okay.
My name is Thu. How do you do? That's what I get from him. So, his name is Thu, and yeah.
And so when you have a lot of your out-of-body experiences, are a lot of them cries for help, actually?
They're either exploring or they're cries for help, or I'm out exploring and I'll get a cry for help.
Gotcha. So that actually is a lot of what you do when you journey.
Yes, I can get these, it's like a beeper signal or, spider sense or whatever. It's a warning and a call for help. And I, depending on how strong it is, tells me the direness of the situation. And there's, emotional content with it, how it works, and I follow that and I stream through the ether. There's that rushing motion and, it doesn't matter how far away it is, and then you're there. Right. You're there.
Right.
And then you don't really know where you are. The one time I talk about is I went back to help a prior me on a old colonial ship was off on the coast of England there, and I was in a sword battle, and I had to save myself. Gotcha.
Well, we come to the end of the show, Jonathan. It's been wonderful having you on the show again. I want to make sure everybody, please visit Jonathan's website at www.jonathanwomack.com. And I really recommend getting his books. Jonathan, again, thank you so much for being on today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. And I want to thank all you listeners for hanging out with us this morning. Live with Lisa Phoenix is on every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific Time and 1 p.m. Eastern Time. See you next week. Thank you, everybody.